Mr. Liu, Mr. Liu, if you just might move your microphone just a little close. It's a little hard for some of us to hear too. Thank you. This is not Pakistan related per se, but it is your area of responsibility. So I want to ask also about India. I know the administration is looking at accountability.
नुमाइंदगान के रुकन डोनाल्ड लू से अब इंडिया के बारे में सवाल कर रहे हैं। उन्होंने सवाल किया है कि इंडिया पर ये इल्जाम लगाया कि उसने एक सिख रहनुमा को अमेरिका में कत्ल करने की साजिश की।
The administration, of course, recently placed sanctions on more than 500 individuals relating to the killing of Alexei Navalny in Russia on Russian soil. So my question is, are any similar sanctions on or travel bans being considered for those who we believe may be responsible for the attempted murder of Mr. Pannan?
Thank you, Representative Phillips. This is a serious issue between the United States and India. The Department of Justice has alleged that an Indian citizen, at the behest of someone working in the Indian government, has attempted to kill a citizen.
एक अमरीकी शहरी को भारत की जानिब से भारत की सरपरस्ती में कत्ल करने की जो साजिश की गई और जो कोशिश की गई उसको अमेरिका बहुत संजीदगी से ले रहा है और उस मामले की तफ्तीश जारी है।
To encourage India to hold accountable those responsible for this this terrible crime. What we can see is that India itself has announced that they have created a committee of inquiry to look into this matter, and we ask them to work quickly and transparently to make sure justice is done.
Thank you. With the remainder of my time, I'd like to talk about economic issues. If you could give an assessment.
अमेरिकी अवानी नुमाइंदगान ने पाकिस्तानी मईशत के बारे में डॉलर लू से सवाल किया है कि उनके ख्याल में पाकिस्तानी मईशत किस जानिब गामज़न है।
I know it's still early, but if you could provide an assessment of how you see things right now, I'd appreciate it.
No, not only is it really important for the Pakistani people that they have economic stability and economic growth, it's important for America. We have lots of investments in Pakistan. There are lots of franchises and American businesses working throughout Pakistan. Their success is our success. One of the issues I think that we face
डोनाल्ड लू बता रहे हैं कि पाक अमेरिका ताल्लुकात का जो माशी पहलू है उसके हवाले से बहुत सी अमेरिकी कंपनियां हैं और फ्रेंचाइजेस हैं जो पाकिस्तान में इस वक्त काम कर रही हैं और बड़ी कामयाबी से काम कर रही हैं और अमेरिका चाहता है कि पाकिस्तान में मज़ीद सरमायाकारी करे, लेकिन उसकी राह में एक सबसे बड़ी जो रुकावट है वो है तिजारत के मामले में ख़ास तौर पर, और वो रेड टेपिज्म ब्यूरोक्रेसी है। और डोनाल्ड लू का कहना है कि अमेरिका की पाकिस्तान से ये दरख्वास्त रही है कि वो अपना जो सिस्टम है उसमें रिफॉर्म्स लेकर आए, इस्लाहात लेकर आए ताकि पाकिस्तान में गैर मुल्की सरमायाकारी को आसान बनाया जा सके।
I think you'll see large numbers of American investors flocking to Pakistan. It's a really interesting place to invest if it had the right conditions.
All right. Thank you, sir. And with that, I yield back.
Thank you very much, Ranking Member Dean Phillips. We now proceed to Congressman Rich McCormick of Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to point out that we in Congress have a job to do. This is an incredibly important topic, and I think out of respect for those people who are interested in this topic, the people who want to be disruptive should be gavelled out and removed from this hearing. I think anybody who's earned this place, whether you be in Congress or be a military member or be somebody from Pakistan or be somebody who's interested in this topic, should be respected, and those people who break the rules should be removed from and not be allowed back in.
मीटिंग के दौरान शोर पे नाराज़गी का इज़हार किया है और कहा है कि जो लोग बातें कर रहे हैं या शोर मचा रहे हैं उनको कमरे से निकाल दिया जाए।
So ordered.
Thank you. All three that were speaking out, thank you. They're wearing red in case you can't figure out who they are.
I said not one word. This is very undemocratic. But I will say free Imran Khan. Free Imran Khan.
मीटिंग के दौरान फ्री इमरान खान के नारे भी सुनने में आए।
The committee will suspend while the Capitol Police restore order.
Free Imran Khan. Free Imran Khan. Free Imran Khan, a great democratic leader in Pakistan. We need Imran Khan. Free Imran
And Congressman McCormick will now continue with his full 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've been interrupted in the previous hearings, and I just want to make sure we have some order. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you, and I thank you, Secretary Liu, for your testimony today. Today's topic is very important to me. Whether we like it or not, the U.S. future cannot include isolationism from the rest of the world. American leadership will be required for our country's future success and to ensure America remains first in the world. We must remain robust partnerships and alliances with nations that share our interests and values. As nations like China and Russia and violent extremist organizations threaten global stability, it is critical for U.S. interests for South Central Asia countries such as Pakistan and India to continue developing stable and transparent democracies. That's why I introduced House Resolution 901 with my esteemed colleague from Michigan, Representative Dan Kildee. The resolution affirms U.S. support for democracy and human rights in Pakistan. I'm looking forward to Res 901's consideration later this afternoon as the House Foreign Affairs Committee marks it up. As I am sure you're aware, Pakistan recently conducted the largest election in its history, but these were unfortunately marred by allegations of fraudulent activity and electoral violence. Watchdog groups raised the alarm over reports of political repression, suspension of interest access on Election Day, delays in election results, and more. Currently, the Election Commission of Pakistan is reviewing many of the election results in individual parliamentary constituencies, and the Pakistani judicial system is investigating and adjudicating irregularities. In fact, the ambassador from Pakistan came to my office yesterday and talked about what they were going to try to do to mitigate these problems. With all this being said, there must be
अमेरिकी ऐवानी नुमाइंदगान के रुकन मैककॉर्मिक ने डॉलर लू से सवाल किया है कि क्या उनके ख्याल में अमेरिका को पाकिस्तान के इंसाफ के इदारों जैसे कि अदलिया और इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ पाकिस्तान है उन पर एतमाद करना चाहिए कि वो इंतखाबी शिकायत के हवाले से जो भी केसेस हैं वो उनको इंसाफ की बुनियाद पर उनके फैसले देंगी.
Just before I answer that question, just say a word about protests. We have just tremendous respect for the Pakistani American community. We pride ourselves in the State Department and in my office about talking to Pakistani Americans because they are the people in our vast country who care the most about this relationship. They have something genuine to offer because of their deep knowledge.
डोनाल्ड लू बता रहे हैं कि किस तरह अमेरिका में जो पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी है वो किस तरह पाक अमेरिका ताल्लुकात के लिए बहुत अहम है क्योंकि उसका सबसे ज़्यादा स्टेक है और सबसे ज़्यादा वो ख्याल करती है इन ताल्लुकात का और उसमें इन्वेस्टेड है.
Those of us who are trying to guide this policy.
Absolutely. And I will say, respectful conversation is always paramount for me. I've met with constituencies. I have people who've come here from all over the United States that I've met with in my own district on this topic. There is a time and a place for everyone to speak, and that's order. That's something that we worked hard for.
One of the things that I have faced over these last 2 years is some of these allegations, unfounded allegations, have resulted in regular death threats against me, threats against my family, involvement of local police. There is a line of acceptability, and I do think at times some of the free speech has verged into threats of violence, which is not acceptable in our society. Sir, if I could answer your important question. The Election Commission of Pakistan in past elections has rerun elections where there have been finding of electoral abuse. We have seen that over and over. In fact, in this election, they have already ordered the rerun of elections where there has been violence. As we know, there have been candidates who've been killed in this election.
बता रहे हैं कि किस तरह माजी के पाकिस्तान में जो इलेक्शंस हुए उसमें जिन हलकों में धांधली के इल्ज़ामात लगे वहाँ पर किस तरह से दोबारा इंतखाबात भी कराए गए इलेक्शन कमीशन के मातहत ही और इसी तरह उनको उम्मीद है कि इस दफ़ा के मामले में भी यही होगा.
As to whether they will do it, it's up to the Pakistani people to make sure their institutions are functional and that are upholding their constitution.
एक और सवाल ये किया गया है कि पाकिस्तान अमेरिका का काबिल एतमाद साथी है और क्या अमेरिका पाकिस्तान को एक साथी के तौर पर देख रहा है मुस्तकबिल में?
Pakistan is such an important partner of ours. They are a major non-NATO ally. We have deep national security interests with Pakistan, not least of which is the fight against terrorism not only terrorism that affects Pakistan.
डोनाल्ड लू का कहना है कि दहशतगर्दी सिर्फ पाकिस्तान के लिए मसला नहीं है बल्कि उसका विक्टिम अमेरिका भी है और इसलिए दहशतगर्दी के खिलाफ जंग जो है वो पाकिस्तान और अमेरिका के दोनों के लिए अहम है.
Thank you very much, Dr. Congressman Rich McCormick of Georgia. We now proceed to Congresswoman Kathy Manning of North Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome back to my good friend, Dean Phillips. And thank you, Assistant Secretary Liu, for your service to our country. I want to focus on the plight of women in Pakistan for a few minutes. I am very concerned about the treatment of women in Pakistan, including female journalists and women harassed and arrested at protests and rallies leading up to the election. As you know, Pakistan is routinely rated near the bottom of the world in terms of women's.
डोनाल्ड लू से सवाल कर रही हैं पाकिस्तान में ख़वातीन के हकूक़ की सूरत-ए-हाल के हवाले से और वो कह रही हैं कि अमेरिका पाकिस्तान में ख़वातीन के हकूक़ को बेहतर बनाने के लिए क्या इक़दाम कर रहा है.
The safety, the rights, the inclusion and representation of women in Pakistan's democracy.
Representative Manning, such an important question. I wish I had my wife here sitting next to me. I met my wife in Pakistan. She was an American refugee worker working with Afghans, but her academic subject matter of specialty is gender-based violence, and she has worked in Pakistan on this very issue. What I would say about Pakistan, its human rights,
डोनाल्ड लू ने इसके सवाल के जवाब में ये बताया कि अगर उनकी अहलिया इस वक्त उनके साथ होती तो वो बताती कि किस तरह उनका जो फील्ड ऑफ स्टडी रहा है वो जेंडर बेस्ड वायलेंस है और उनकी अपनी अहलिया से मुलाकात भी पाकिस्तान में ही हुई थी जहां वो उस वक्त काम कर रही थी. डोनाल्ड लू का कहना है कि जो पाकिस्तान में जो जेंडर बेस्ड वायलेंस है उसमें बेहतरी कोई और मुल्क नहीं ला सकता, वो सिर्फ पाकिस्तान और पाकिस्तानी आवाम ही ला सकते हैं.
There have, as I mentioned, double the number of women elected to this parliament.
And do you see that as a positive moment that will actually give hope?
डोनाल्ड लू के ख्याल में उनकी नज़र में पाकिस्तानी माशरे के हर लेवल के ऊपर पाकिस्तानी ख़वातीन आगे आ रही हैं और लीडरशिप पोजीशंस में आ रही हैं, चाहे वो बिजनेस हो या सियासत हो या कोई भी और शोबा हो.
Entirely right. At the village level in Pakistan, lives for women are incredibly difficult. I see more women today in senior positions in business. I see them on the high court. I see them in parliament. I see them as ministers. Honestly, some days Pakistanis are doing better than Americans on some of these questions. It is a struggle for all of us, but I do credit the very brave women and young girls who are leading this path in Pakistan. And I think as foreign partners, we need to put our resources, our public statements, and our activism
सवाल कर रही हैं कि पाकिस्तान में कितने फीसद ख़वातीन मईशत में अपना हिस्सा डालती हैं.
Participation of Pakistani women in the economy, and are there hurdles to greater participation, and is there anything we can do to encourage greater participation?
Well, one of the real issues for every business in Pakistan, but particularly for women-owned businesses, is access to financing. And so one of the things that I've seen over the course of my career, and particularly in Pakistan, is the emergence of these microfinance projects, because largely women-owned businesses are not the massive textile mills or
डोनाल्ड लू बता रहे हैं कि कैसे उन्होंने अब तक अपने करियर में पाकिस्तान के हवाले से ये देखा है कि पाकिस्तानी मईशत में ख़वातीन भले बड़ी बड़ी मिल्स या फैक्ट्रीज ना चला रही हों लेकिन छोटे बिजनेसेस में उनका रोल बढ़ता जा रहा है और ये माइक्रो फाइनेंस की वजह से बहुत सी ख़वातीन छोटे कर्जे लेकर किस तरह अपने घरों से काम शुरू कर रही हैं और आगे बढ़ रही हैं.
While the PRC and other countries are investing in literally roads to nowhere that bleed the Pakistani people of their resources year after year.